Hi, everybody. Happy Thursday. How's everybody doing? I bet Ron is listening. Hope you guys are having a good night. I have all of the questions from the group here pulled up on my phone. So what I want to do is just go ahead and start answering questions. And then at the end, if anybody, has additional questions, or if you have questions as I'm going through this, go ahead and type them into the chat, and then I will get to them or clarify or whatever you need me to do. So let me pull up the questions here and we can go ahead and get started. Okay, so question number one from the group: can you over drink water? I logged my water and I naturally drink more than recommended. Is that dangerous? It is very, very, very difficult to accidentally drink too much water. The main issue with drinking too much or more than recommended is that it will deplete your electrolytes in your system. And typically that happens if you are training really hard and drinking a ton of water and it's hot, and basically, so you're sweating out electrolytes and you're replenishing them with electrolyte free plain water. So even like elite athletes in the NFL, the NBA, where they're out working out really hard, training outside, sweating, baseball, football, all that, soccer, they are recommended to only drink one Gatorade for every 3 or 4 waters. And that's to adequately replenish your electrolytes. So if you're going about your day and you're drinking 3 or 4 liters of water, you're going to be totally fine. I don't exercise and I am 5'2" and I drink 3 liters of water a day. And sometimes that doesn't feel like enough for me. So it's okay to drink a lot of water. If you start to feel lightheaded or anything like that, again, it's very, very challenging to drink too much water. I don't know, I would have to look up the symptoms of drinking too much, but really it's very challenging unless you are drinking a couple of gallons a day and sweating. Do you know anything about drinking too much water? So my husband and I both did wildland firefighting, which is a very extreme environment. And that's breakdown. Okay, so rhabdomyolysis, I think, is where your muscles will start to break down and you get really intense cramping and pain, and you can actually start immediately urinating very, very dark. But again, that's an extreme case of your body's looking for the electrolytes and the nutrients that you're flushing out of your system too much. So short answer is go ahead and drink as much water as you want. Okay, question number 2. It's not nutrition. Do waist trimmer belts designed to make you sweat during a workout help trim your waist? No. It's really just kind of a gimmick and a scheme. It's kind of like the wraps that you see. There's different companies that offer wraps that you can wrap up different parts of your body, and they're like, look, I'm so skinny after a night of sleeping in it, and you get really gross and sweaty. Basically, no, there is no substitute for eating a healthy diet, drinking enough water, maintaining your muscle, muscle mass. Building muscle and eating a nutritious diet is the best way to reduce fat on your body. Sweating it off by wrapping something, it's not sustainable, because what happens is your body sweats all the you will sweat in that area, but it's almost like that area of your body kind of just becomes dehydrated, and so then in a couple hours it'll fill itself back out. So that is I wouldn't recommend it. I would say it's probably a waste of money, and isn't something that is proven to help people specifically lose weight in certain areas. Spot reducing any area of your body is challenging. Um, but if you're looking to get abs, if you're looking to reduce your, you know, fat on your core, for example, or over any area of your body, like we all have a layer of fat. If you want to reduce any of that, nutrition is going to be your best friend. Um, so again, everything that we learn about in this group with the nutrition, with the programs, making sure that you're eating according to your plan. If you're having trouble with your plan and you're not seeing the results that you want, we can talk about it and we can, address your specific situation. Next question. What additives can you put in or brew in water, and does it still count as water? Yeah, so there's a couple. So you can add things like lemon juice, lime juice. You can throw in fresh berries. You can freeze. You can make like ice cube trays and put in, herbs or cucumber or lemon slices or, berries or fruit or watermelon, and freeze them and then drop them into your water, and it can like make it taste better. That definitely still counts as water. You can even add like part of a scoop of hydrate, which it does have some electrolytes in it, but it's not a ton. Like a full scoop is designed to replenish what you have lost after a 30-minute or more workout. But if you just want a little bit of flavor, you could add like part of a scoop. So maybe like a half or a quarter of a scoop, that would still count as water. The things that don't count as water, so like adding a full packet of Bevy doesn't count as water. Energize doesn't count as water. Like if you have a full scoop of Energize in your water, coffee doesn't count as water. Tea is pretty fine. Like I wouldn't just drink, tea all day. Well, let me preface this. As long as you don't add anything else to your tea. So like if you're adding sweetener or you're adding, cream or anything to make it more like tea. But if you just have like a plain, like a big, thing of refrigerated herbal tea in your fridge in the summer, and you want to drink that sometimes, you can probably count that as water because it is hydrating, as long as it's herbal and not caffeinated, because caffeine it acts as like a diuretic, so it makes you pee more, and it does have a little bit of a dehydrating effect on your body. But if you wanted to add in, like peppermint tea bags or chamomile or something like that, like, and just sip on that all day, that would be fine. I mean, it's just, it's herbs or, natural herbs, it's fine for your body. So if you really don't like the flavor of plain water, that's totally fine for you to add that in and just sip on that all day. Next question. Is yogurt considered a good fat? So yes and no. Is kind of, so, okay, the way that yogurt works is yogurt can count in two different ways on the meal plans. And so I'll talk about Ultimate Portion Fix, and then I'll talk about 2B Mindset and how yogurt works. So, well, it works similar on both. So maybe I'll just talk about Ultimate Portion Fix because that's a little bit more like cut and dried because of the containers. So if you are going to eat yogurt, you can have 2% plain yogurt that is like natural plain yogurt, so like Greek yogurt. And the difference between plain 2% yogurt and anything else is the ingredients. So you have to look very, very closely at the ingredients when you're thinking about yogurt. Because yogurt that is not full of probiotics has other ingredients in it to make it gel the right way, to make it have a better shelf life, to have a certain flavor. So flavorings and preservatives and stabilizers, those are all added to yogurts that are not just like plain normal yogurt. So the kinds of yogurt that would be considered on the like in the red containers in the Ultimate Portion Fix program, those would be, so like I eat Greek, we buy Greek Gods yogurt, and it is, I think they do like a 2%. They do a whole milk too. We buy the whole milk, um, but we don't eat as much of it. But it has probiotics in it, and it is made just with plain dairy. So it's basically just milk and cultures, and the cultures are what create that consistency of the yogurt. So there's no preservatives in it, no flavorings, no, um, nothing else is in it. The probiotics are part of it just because of the way that yogurt is created. It's created with probiotics. And so that kind of yogurt is considered a protein. And it does have some fat in it, obviously, like 2%, which is allowed. So if you like the thicker, creamier, heartier yogurt, you can have up to 2% yogurt. If you like non-fat yogurt, that's totally fine. You don't have to have the fat. However, if you like it as, so there are some recipes that instead of calling for sour cream, they will call for like Greek yogurt, plain Greek yogurt instead. And the reason for that is to replace the fat of sour cream with a little bit less fat, but still give you that really good kind of like tangy, creamy flavoring that you get. So yes, yogurt is a good healthy fat, but for these nutrition plans, you also get to count them as protein because they do have a lot of protein in them. And when you are making your recipes and when you are just choosing your foods, make sure that you're following what's on the food lists so that you can use them in the right place in your nutrition plans so that you get the most benefit from them. So again, like yogurt is a great one because it's really versatile. You can use it, as kind of like like an addition, or you can add it to like dressings or sauces, or add a little scoop, like if you're making like a tomato bisque or something, like add a little scoop of plain yogurt, and it gives it like a kind of a tang without a bunch of extra fat. So that is how yogurt works in the meal plan. And I know the person who asked that question is not on the call. So if you rewatch this and you still have questions, make sure you just, ask them in the group and we'll get you your answer. Next, okay. What causes mouth hunger? I can eat a large healthy meal and hardly eat at all, but then I feel hungry in my mouth even though my stomach is very full. This is it. So the thing that causes this is what is up here between your ears, right? It's your brain. Your brain says, I want to put something else in my mouth, probably dessert, right? So probably when you are feeling like you just ate a big meal and you want something else, it's probably that you want something sweet. And basically what we need to start paying attention to is there's a difference between, and I know exactly what you mean. So like you feel like you are just, from here, like this area feels hungry, but if you pay attention to your stomach is not hungry. And for me, like we pay attention to like what is going on at the time. So it might be that you are in a social environment. It might be that you are stressed. It might be that you are bored. So all of these are kind of like social cues. And it's important to pay attention to what's going on around you when you start to feel that. So it's actually a good cue to you to sit down and say, okay, am I physically hungry? Is my stomach gurgling? Or am I in an environment that is either causing me stress, or am I bored? Or am I in a social environment where everybody else is eating and like the fun thing to do, because we are social animals, we are social creatures. The way that we evolved from cavemen basically was that everybody, would be in a community, and food was the thing that was celebrated. And so, everybody would celebrate when somebody shot a caribou or a woolly mammoth and everybody got to eat and it was very exciting. And so, being in a social environment, we've kind of evolved to eat together. So, when you're around a lot of people, eating is often what people get together to do. So, like, you celebrate something like graduation season, everybody eats. Birthdays, everybody sits down and has cake. Um, weddings, there's the dinner and the cake, all the things. Like, everybody gets together to eat. So, again, like, just kind of be aware of what is going on around you. Or the last thing is, have you created a habit for yourself of eating at a certain time or doing something relating to food? So maybe like after dinner and you're full, but you go and sit down on the couch and you watch a movie and you're like, oh, I want to eat because I have in the past sat down and had popcorn or snacks or chips or dessert or ice cream at the end of the day. So it's important to kind of like pay attention to those cues from outside of you, but also to what's going on in your head. Again, whether it's stress or boredom or being social or what's number four? What did I just say? Oh, a habit that you have created in the past that is going to kind of come back and create this hunger that you want to eat even though you're not actually hungry. So I hope that answers your question. Okay. Last question from the chat, and then I think, or the comments, and then I think there's one in the chat too. Okay, so best ultimate portion fix approved foods to take on a 5-day trip where you have no control over what you're eating. I'm staying at a camp with kids. The camp is feeding us. I have no idea if I will even have access to a refrigerator. Okay, so I would bring apples. I would bring, let's see, so if you can bring an ice chest would be the best, like even just like a little travel sized one with one of those like really good ice packs. Like if you have, I mean, like, one of the ones that's like, stays cold for however many days. Put one of those like super ice packs in it and bring some produce. I would say probably produce is going to be your best friend. I'm sure if they're feeding you, they're going to feed you plenty of protein. They're going to feed you plenty of carbs. They're going to feed you plenty of fats. So think about like, what are you going to be missing? Probably fruits and vegetables and fiber. So anything that you can bring that can fill those gaps. So like for fruits, like there's a lot of fruits that stay well, like grab a bag of mandarin oranges. I know the person who asked this is not a big fruit person, but it's probably something that would keep better than most things. So, go to the grocery store, buy one of those 5-pound bags of like Gala apples or whatever, which by the way, this time of year are quite good at Ingles. A bag of the mandarins, or you can get, just like some of the like fruits that they have in like the center bins. So like, I mean, even like peaches right now are coming into season. They are out in like ambient temperature. So they'll probably stay fine. So if you don't have a refrigerator, you don't have to take up like your precious ice chest space. And then I would, bring baby carrots. I would bring maybe like snap peas, or you could even get a bag of like, I know this sounds kind of boring, but I'm a boring eater, so it seems fine to me. Just like go get a bag of like pre-cut and like pre-washed like broccoli from the produce section, not from the freezer section. And that, might be able to stay good. You can like munch on it every so often, dip it in, I don't know, like bring some barbecue sauce. I don't know. This is like how my brain works. You could also bring, I don't know if anybody else on the call, like if something pops into mind, go ahead and drop it in the chat, because I'm just like brainstorming right now. But think about the things that you are like the standard American fare for what, large groups of people eat together. Like there's always a protein, there's always carbs and there's always fats. So think about like what you're going to be missing and just like browse through the grocery store, wander the produce section, and see what is available there. And then I think the easier thing to do, which I mean, it's if you don't want to bring stuff, it's probably okay if you don't bring stuff. Your progress is not going to get derailed if you are really vigilant for those 5 days and making sure that you portion out what you're eating really well. And make sure, I mean, even if the vegetables are a little bit weird and like, I don't know, um, overcooked. Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking like southern, camp food, which is probably like full of casseroles and, like overcooked vegetables. So I'm sorry, that sounds terrible. And I hope it's not that way for you. But fill up on vegetables, make sure that half of your plate, every time there's vegetables served, make sure half of your plate is vegetables, a quarter is protein, and a quarter is carbs. And then, just go sparing on the dressings. And I think you should be fine. Pick like if there's oatmeal and eggs for breakfast, that's a great breakfast. I think you have access, if you have access to 2B Mindset, look at how the program plates the foods. And so then you can say, okay, so even though I'm not able to follow my containers, I can at least follow a nutrition plan that does give me some guidance for how to fill up my plate, because that I think is much more flexible when you're traveling. So hopefully that helps. And I think somebody, let's see. Yeah, vegetables and guacamole. Yeah. So like get a little thing of guacamole and you can like dip your veggies in guac, or hummus, bring hummus. That's really good too. But yeah, I mean, you'll probably have more than enough of, like I said, protein and carbs. And so just making sure that you can fill in the fruits, fill in the vegetables, make sure you're getting enough fiber, because sometimes that is lacking in some of those like in institutionalized cooking environments. But I mean, again, if all else fails and you just have to eat what's there, just even if you don't have the best choices, 5 days isn't going to derail all of your hard work. You've been working very hard. You have good habits in place, and as long as you're aware as you're filling up your plate, just make sure that you can, have a plan to get back on track when you get home. Okay, question from the chat. Is it okay to consume 2 servings of Shakeology a day? Sure. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with having 2 servings of Shakeology a day. I do that probably once or twice a week sometimes. Yeah, I mean, it's for most people, like I wouldn't recommend doing it like every single day and replacing 2 meals every day with Shakeology. I mean, you do need whole foods to go through your system. And so, just for the reason that your body requires real food. Like I know so many people say, I don't like to drink my, meals. And I get it. A lot of people have this kind of idea that when you drink a shake, you're on like a liquid diet. And obviously we know that's not the case with Shakeology and the nutrition plans that we have, but it is fine occasionally to have 2 servings in a day. Sometimes I'll mix it up as a pudding for one meal and I'll have it as a shake for another meal if I just absolutely don't want to cook and I totally don't want to deal with food at all. The only like thing that might be a hindrance there would be you end up going through your Shakeology faster than normal and you have to like order sooner, and so you end up spending more money, which is totally, it happens. Or it's, the other thing too is, if you have an oversupply of Shakeology, you can totally have 2 in a day if you, if you have more than enough. And the other thing too is if you have too much, if you just suddenly end up with like extra bags because you haven't been drinking it every day, you can bake with it, you can make pudding with it, you can make muffins, you can make like protein balls, so if you go, well, let's see. Actually, I don't think I've posted it in this group, but in the other group, I think many of you are in the Rock Your Life community. In the announcements, there's a Shakeology list, like a Shakeology PDF of all these really, really good recipes that everything from like different flavors of shakes to different recipes that you can make with it, different ways you can make it, all kinds of things. Also, the Beachbody On Demand blog has a ton of recipes. Ultimate Portion Fix has recipes. To Be Mindset has recipes. Nutrition Plus has recipes. So if you are looking for a way to consume more, you can always find it. Any other questions that came up, or does anybody need anything clarified that we've talked about? If you also, if you just want to type into the chat which nutrition program you're doing right now, or alternately, if you have not picked one, what you are following right now and how that is going for you. I think I know what some of you are doing, and some of you, I guess I don't. So yeah, just go ahead and type into the chat when you get a second. I can only babble for so long. I mean, I can babble forever, but I can only like pretend to be explaining for so long. And then we can talk about kind of what everybody is doing a little bit too, because that is part of this group. Like, you guys are in the VIP group, and I want to make sure that you are getting access that you need. Plus, you guys showed up here live. So if you have any specific questions about what you're doing, we can answer those too. Okay, so I'm not currently following a Beachbody meal plan, mostly vegan diet. I am doing that too. And actually I'm doing kind of a combination of, well, it's not even a combination. I'm following the 2B meal plan as the vegan plan, and then I've added in some stuff that I have found that is working for me personally for how I'm dealing with my fibromyalgia, which I think is working. So hopefully. Chris is following the containers. Does anybody have any problems that they're running into? Any, maybe you're having trouble figuring out the right containers. You feel like you've hit a plateau. You don't know if you're eating too much. You don't know if you're eating enough. Questions about that? Is everybody getting the results they want? I guess that's a good question too. Are you getting are you happy with your results? Do you feel like you're either maintaining your weight, you're building muscle, you're losing weight, whatever your goals are, is that going well? And if you want to unmute yourself, that's fine too.
Well, I can say that we don't follow the containers super strict. And I'll tell you on Monday if I'm happy with my results. But I think I'm at the stage of I'm gaining more muscle than I'm losing fat, but I'm gaining muscle. So like my scale numbers are not reflecting where I want them to be, but I'm definitely seeing the difference in a lot of different areas, including like tone and like strength.
Good.
For sure. We bumped up weights again this week. So I'm at like 12-pound weights for all my, it's hard not to focus on that.
It is. Are you taking measurements on a regular basis?
Yeah, we do weight and measurements every 3 weeks with a 21-day program, with the 21-day fix program. So we'll be doing measurements on Monday also.
Okay. Well, again, like if you feel like you're running into, problems or struggling with something, go ahead and come into the group and we'll talk about it, if you're comfortable with that. Otherwise, I mean, your coach can also help you too, but we can definitely, this group is a learning group, and I'm sure that if you're comfortable sharing what you're going through, everybody can learn from you, and we can go through that with you in the group. Okay, I see results when I stick with it. Definitely know when I'm off of it a little and feel the bloat. Yes. Yes, that happens. Um, I I'm gonna guess that's probably when you eat more dairy and more grains, because I think that's where most people probably feel like they get a little bit bloated. Um, and yeah, but again, and I feel I'm the same way. I just finished the 3-day refresh yesterday and I feel so good. And like today, I'm like still following a really clean nutrition plan. Um, and things come and go, but again, that's why we have these tools, that's why we have these resources, these calls, so that we can all you know have the tools and a plan to get us where we want to go. The hard part is following the plan. So here's a good question: who is tracking their who is actually following a tracker? Like, are you tracking your containers every day, or are you writing down the foods that you eat every day in your To Be Mindset journal? My journal is right here. And for those of you who, probably within the past year ordered a challenge pack, you have one of these. So even if you're not following To Be Mindset, um, you can track, like, it's a daily food journal. So you can track your food, um, even if it's the containers. So you could, it's breakfast, lunch, snack, and dinner. And then there's some other good stuff in there too, like what's your current mindset? What was a positive thing that happened today? Did you poop today? Which is important. Um, so, all of these things you can track, even if you're not following To Be Mindset, you can track in here. And again, like if you're running into issues, if you feel like you're not, hitting your goals, my first recommendation is always going to be write down everything that you eat every day for a week and see what you notice. And with To Be Mindset, like you weigh yourself every day. It's just data, just information to tell you where you what agrees with your body, what doesn't agree with your body, what helps you reach your goals. So yes, the tracker is your best friend. Good. Tracking in my To Be. Good. Awesome. We only have a few more minutes. So if there's any last questions or anything else that came up, I'd love to answer those. Or I'd love to, chat about anything else that you guys need help with.
Are you going to post this? Because I've got booted out a couple of times and I've missed you answering my questions on some of them.
Oh no.
I
Yes,
am having super difficulties tonight with Zoom. It doesn't like me.
Bummer. Yes, this will be recorded. I mean, it is recorded, and I will post this. I'll post the recording in our group so that you can go back and watch everything. And yes, hopefully I answered all your questions. And yes, if you need clarification on anything, just go ahead and, comment below.
I didn't hear everything that you were saying about the mouth hunger, but the weird thing about it is I was never a dessert eater in the first place. So that's not something that I'm trying to get used to not doing. But it is that I'm desiring to put something sweet in my mouth. And I don't know if my body's just saying, we want some fast energy to digest this, or because I've never been a dessert eater, which is weird.
The other thing too is like, I don't want to say like as we age, but our bodies change over time. And it's very possible that, whatever changes your body is going through, your body might be craving different nutrients because, who knows? Like maybe, I don't know. It's totally fine to have some fruit. If you like feel like you're just like, oh my God, I need something. Have some fruit.
I'm so full. It's like I can't hardly put another piece of food in my mouth.
Oh, okay. So yeah. So then, water, tea.
It's weird.
Tea helps a lot.
Do you think that would have anything to do with electrolytes?
Sometimes our bodies will, I don't think it would have to do with electrolytes. I think probably thirst. Like if you are dehydrated, like I know you're worried about drinking too much water, but sometimes if our bodies are thirsty, our bodies will cue us and we'll interpret that as hunger when it's actually thirst.
And I keep drinking and drinking and drinking. So I,
I think you're doing the right things.
okay. It's just weird. It's weird.
Bodies are weird, and interpreting the cues that our body gives us are challenging. So, I mean, just, tuning in, thinking about what's happening around you can kind of give you some ideas of maybe what's causing to have cravings. All right, guys. Well, I'm super excited that everybody hopped on tonight. Thank you for joining us live. And this will be posted in the group. And yeah, we'll do this again this month, probably in 2 weeks, I believe. We have another one. So that'll give us some time to implement what we learned, come up with some new questions, because every time we actually do the things that we're supposed to be doing, we have questions, which is good. So we're going to do another one of these in 2 weeks. And everybody have an awesome night. Bye.
Bye.